Hey guys, Suze from Suze Martin Coaching. I have just started to channel the most amazing message. 2026 is going to be the year of people realising that their ladder is up against the wrong building. How cool is that? How not cool is that? But how cool is that? This is big, this one. I made a couple of notes, but I'm going to unpack this as it comes in because I just think that that's the best way to go. When you start to talk about stuff, more stuff comes in. And so I believe that that's the best way to go. That's a year of just people discovering that their ladder is up against the wrong building. Maybe they've been lied to. Maybe they've been misguided or tricked into putting their ladder up and climbing up a certain side of a building to get to the top of whatever they're trying to get to. Maybe someone is destiny swapping is a word that came through. Destiny cloning is coming through. I don't even know if that's a thing. It's where people can see your potential, see what you have, and see how that is going to, by teaming up with you and by getting in with you, how that is going to speed them along up their ladder. That ultimately is going to benefit them and not you, but they will be feeding you stuff to make you think that this is going to be great for you and everything's going to be great for you. And when it gets to a certain point, they're going to step on your back and head up over and you're going to be stuck there. Oh, that's a really horrible visual. So we can put our ladder up. What is our ladder? Our ladder is our life path. What is the building? It's the life we're choosing to go up to, or put it against, right? We choose where we put our ladder, or do we? Oh, that was very interesting. The drop of the crystal. We choose where we put our ladder, or do we? Societal programming, family dynamics, family beliefs, family systems, friends, people that we get to know all through our lives shape us. And they shape our belief of where our ladder should be put when we have the chance to put a ladder up. When can we put a ladder up? I don't know. Some people do it early in childhood. Some people's ladders are set firmly against a building for them by their parents or their caregivers or their people who are around them. They're big people, right, who are going to set them on a path. And I have to ask, is that path truly the child's path, or is that the parent's path? You know? We see child actors, child singers, we see people who are put into the spotlight early, who are filmed and lives followed on perhaps social media, who are almost groomed into becoming something, and then it becomes them and it becomes their life, and then they get so far into their life and realise, I didn't actually choose this, or I have no control over where this goes, or my ladder is up against a building that now that I'm a bit further up I can see there are other buildings I could put it up against, and I want to take my ladder to another building, but they've been locked in by other people. Does that make sense? We can lock ourselves in and put lots of ladders up to things: politics, religion, thoughts and beliefs around jobs, thoughts and beliefs about money, thoughts and beliefs about relationships, thoughts and beliefs about what success is, thoughts and beliefs about what society says versus what, someone who doesn't follow society says. I have watched a lot of people who, especially in the 2020-2022 time period, because that's relevant for me as a time of big change, where I watched a lot of people ostracised and humiliated and made fun of and poked at for choosing to go against the societal norm thing that was happening, right? Some people quit their jobs rather than following along up the next bit of the ladder because they could see that that job was requiring them to do things that they didn't want to do. And they felt strong enough to walk away from that. I saw people sell houses and close businesses and leave lifelong jobs that were prosperous and brilliant and what society said was brilliant, to go and live in an RV and travel around and not have a fixed address and do things on the internet or do things on social media as a living. And I saw people poke fun at those people, and I saw people, all sorts of stuff, right? The outliers, the change makers, the path pavers don't follow along. They don't put their ladder on any building, to be fair. They're using their ladder to bridge gaps I'm now seeing a mountaintop and another mountaintop, and I'm seeing somebody lay their ladder down and crawling hands and knees across their ladder to get to the other mountain, to see the unseen things, to live the unseen way, to live a way that society hasn't seen lived before, or maybe it has. As I see now the 1960s starting to come back to me, if anyone's seen any earlier channels that I've done, the 1960s came to me midway last year as a blueprint overlay for the decade of the 2020s. There are similarities in energy, there are similarities in things that you can follow along as if it's a blueprint overlay on 2020. I'll just leave that there. So, when we realise that our ladder is up against the wrong building. Now, the wrong building for who? Might be the right building for everybody else. You might be putting your life into what everybody out there is telling you is the right thing, right? And then you realise, oh, that's not the right thing for me though. What happens to people when they get further up the ladder? They start to realise this doesn't feel good, this doesn't feel like the right things, or they get to the top of the ladder expecting the ticket tape parade and the whole thing and all the joy is going to follow and everything, and nothing. What do? Some people will double down and stay there because I've spent so much time I've spent 10 years walking up this ladder, 15 years walking up this ladder. My identity is in walking up this ladder. My identity is, what a waste it would be if I'm going to continue even though I'm miserable. I'm numbing with alcohol and drugs and risky behaviour. I'm shopping it away. I'm drinking it away. I'm pity partying it away. I'm doing all the things, right, to pretend that I'm good. And outwardly, those people look like they're living the life and everyone in society is like, yay. And then more people are like, oh, I want to put my ladder where your ladder is. And the cycle perpetuates because then the same thing happens, right? People go with the ladder. They go up there. They go, that same thing happens. Does that make sense so far? All right. Then I'm seeing another group of people, like I said, who are taking their ladder and not even putting it up against any building at all. They've got their hand through the rungs. I'm seeing people walking with their ladders and they are walking. And they're walking to the edges. The edges of what? The edges of what known life is for them, right? Everybody's edges are going to be different because I love this visual. I wish I could show you guys what I see when I channel. The edge of what is known for you. Everybody's edge is different. We all know different things. As I said, it comes back to your family upbringing, your society that you grew up in. I grew up in a small town versus someone growing up in a big town would have a different societal view, a different way of thinking, a different way of being, a different way of all sorts of stuff because the dynamics of the two are different. That's just an example. And so people are carrying their ladders and they are all going in different directions. And some people are going up the same building but from different sides. And some people are going up a mountain. And some people are stopping halfway up the mountain and taking in the view and seeing the magic and enjoying it. So to me, that's somebody who is creating their own life that's never been lived before, on their own timing, following their own drum, doing their own things. How might that look in society? It might look like people who are woo-woo, people who are, over there that look rare because there are not a lot of them doing their thing. They might be into, I don't know, I can just bring it back to my life, sound healing, Reiki, channeling, intuition. Living from that side of things is a whole different thing to somebody who is firmly planted in being told what to do, not questioning anything, following every rule to the T, even if that is a detriment to the people around them, right? Again, I'm being brought back to the beginning of the 2020s. We saw a big divide. People talked about how there would be a big divide, and there was, between the people who want to follow the rules because that's what you do and that's what makes society safe, and those people who started to question the rules and started to go over to the other side with people who had worked out decades ago that those rules are only good for those people who follow the rules and they're only a way of keeping everybody the same, and being the same is actually the gut problem in society and why people numb and why people... Anyway, I digress. But this is fascinating to me to think that there are people who are still game enough to go and be the outliers, the path breakers, the people who are stepping outside the known, even though society's throwing stones at them, even though people are talking about them, even though people are criticising them, even though people are laughing at them, having big group chats about them, right? We all know how this happens in society, right? When somebody does something that is quite perplexing to those people who have never even considered it. Why is it perplexing to people? Because some of those people are feeling the same rumblings, but they're not game enough to move, right? There is nothing more triggering than seeing somebody doing something that you really want to do, but you're too scared to. There's nothing more triggering than seeing somebody freely speaking when you know that you are not and you want to. And then you see how that person is belittled and thrown away by society and outcast by society. So you decide, well, it's either that, I don't want that, I want to stay here, so that you, again, get back to the numbing, the drinking, the drugs, the over shopping, because you're trying to numb that little thing in you that's saying, hey dude, your ladder's against the wrong building, go follow them, right? But not even follow them, follow their example. Don't follow people blindly into the sweet by and by, trying to get what they get, because every person is different. We have different fingerprints, we have different blueprints, we come into life with different likes, different giftings, different ways of being. Use people who are being those people touching the edges. Use them as an example of what life could be, what could happen. Use them as an example to get your digestive and brain juices going into what lights you up, what you would like to do, what you would like to try. You know, where you would like to take your ladder. Some people burn their ladder. I'm seeing a campfire now made of ladders. And it reminds me of when I was younger and we used to have fun in the 80s, right? The 80s was a whole... The fashion was pretty questionable. The hair, yeah, questionable. There are a lot of photos I probably don't want to look at from the 80s, but there was one thing that we did have. We had fun. We had a lot of autonomy. We had a lot of free space to make mistakes, right? And so I'm seeing the bonfires that we used to build. I lived on a street and people used to do this everywhere where I lived and, you know, in Australia. We would build a bonfire and have firecracker night. Guy Fawkes, is it? I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was. We would spend a couple of weeks building up that bonfire, you know, and we would load it up, and then there'd be tyres from old mate's shed down the road that he's like, oh, we put them on, I want to get rid of them, and boxes and tree branches and wood and all sorts of things that we would then light that, and that would be the fire around which we stood. Everyone in the street would come together, we would let off firecrackers, we would have so much fun, we would laugh, we would eat, we would do all the things, right? So I'm seeing that big bonfire with the ladders going up against it and lighting it up and burning. So what is that doing? What is that saying? Is that a big FU to the ladders? I'm not sure that it necessarily is, but I think it's a line in the sand, right? Where you don't have a plan B. I think that's what that metaphor for me now is stepping into. There are some people who just go on a plan and they don't have a plan B, because a plan B, while we think it's safe and it's awesome and it's the smartest thing to do, drags our energy back from our plan A. We're never going to fully commit 10 toes down to our plan A if we've got a plan B that we're also feeding into. Our energy's split. So these are the people who, and I talk about lock it in Eddie often in my videos, these are the ones who said, lock it in Eddie, I'm locking in, I'm burning my ladder. I don't want to climb up any buildings. I'm going to burn the ladder, get rid of all the burdens. What is that, though, in life that they're burning? They're burning the societal norms. They are burning the programs. This is them doing the work, right, on themselves to work out, why do I think like that? Where has that come from? Do I think like that? Or was that something that was put on to me by teaching at school, by Sunday school, by the big people in my life, by family society, by a small town or a big city structure? Like, that is them discussing and dismantling their ladder and then getting rid of anything that is not theirs. This is them thinking for the first time. This is them feeling for the first time. This is them discovering, I can have an opinion, and I can have an opinion that's different to what I've known. And it's also an extension of that is, in the burning and in the smoke, I see more possibilities coming because they've decided that they're not locked into this or this or this. Their mind is opening up now, and I'm seeing it open. And within that smoke that is coming from the fire that is burning their ladders, they are seeing the endless possibilities of things that they could consider, that they could think. The knowledge that they weren't open to before because they were locked in by their ladder. Wow, this is huge. This is huge. This is what 2026 is starting to bring, right? We're going to have the different people who are having that realisation, as I said back to the beginning, that their ladder was actually up against the wrong building all along. Now, I talked about those people who were going to lock in and keep going because I've spent so much time on the ladder and all that sort of thing, right? And there will be those people, and that's cool. This is not a judgment on anyone. This is just telling you the different things that I'm seeing, the different archetypes, the different ways I'm seeing of looking at things, the different ways that I'm seeing it could go. And from there, and listening to this, you'll be able to expand on that and feel into your own thoughts on what these could mean, how it could relate back to you, how you could move forward with this information that you didn't have before, right? So I'm seeing some of the people whose ladders were up against buildings get to a certain point, and like I said, they are seeing that there are other buildings they could have put their ladder up against. Not just the 4 in their vicinity, but they get up and they realise, so they are climbing down that ladder, and they're going to take their ladder and they're going to go and explore another building, not just within the 4 buildings around them, but 2 streets over. That building over there is pink, and it's new and it's sparkly. And the things that light me up in my life are pink and new and sparkly, so I'm going to go over there. Is it necessarily going to be successful? Don't know. You won't know till you go. But then you will know once you go. Now, you could stand there on that ladder and look at it and think, oh, I'd really love to, but I don't know. The unknown is scary. Yes, the unknown is scary because it's unknown, but it's also exciting because it's unknown, right? We get so scared to step into the unknown in this life because we like to know the next step and the next step and the possible outcomes, and we like to manufacture an outcome and control the outcome, and we like to see the next 10 steps. Problem with that mentality is you won't know the next 10 steps until you step. You might step into this thing and then 5 other opportunities might step up to you because you took that first step. Does that make sense? And so then what happens from there is a whole other 10 different avenues or buildings will open up to you from that. We are so locked into this is how life goes and this is how you should live it that we don't consider that there are infinite ways to live life. We are a limitless being when we come in here. We are a little drop of consciousness in the body, in the meat suit, in this body, who's never lived before this life, right? So the fact that we think we should know how to live life is crazy to start off with. But the fact that we would base it on somebody else and somebody else's decision of what a good life is laughable to me now. But it wasn't years ago. This is all things that I've realised since I realised in my early 50s that it's okay not to have the answers and for it to be okay to say, I don't know, because the fact of saying I don't know opens up the limitless field of possibilities that's out there in the ether for you to tap into. If you think you know, or you know that it's either this, this or this, that's all that you're going to see because you believe that that's all that there is. But when you say I don't know, I wouldn't have a clue. I've got no idea what the next step would be. All of a sudden, lights come on everywhere. But got to be willing to stop, stand still and look at those things too, though. And we as a society don't like to stop, don't like to lose momentum, don't like to take a breath, don't like to look around because it might be scary, but it might be freaking awesome too. What if you step forward with that? Everything I see is going to be a chance at something freaking awesome. I don't know. What are you going to think about that? We will get on a roller coaster. Now I'm saying a roller coaster. And I think it's the Green Lantern. Oh my gosh. I don't do roller coasters or theme parks or anything a lot. But I'm saying I believe it's the Green Lantern and it's doing some crazy things. And we get on there because we like the excitement, right? And we like to not know what's going to happen, or we do know what's going to happen, but the feeling of it, the sudden change in direction, the sudden stop, the speeding and then the slowing down and then the knowing that when you get up to that peak and then it's going to go back down again, or then it goes backwards, or why are we not living life like that? Because that's reckless, Suze. It's not. I'm not talking about being reckless and being stupid and being reckless. I'm talking about not stepping the steps that everybody else has stepped. Not believing that there's only this way or that way or another way. You can only be this or you can only be that. You can be everything, right? We spend so much of our lives pointing out everybody else's mistakes and how, because they didn't fit into this mould or didn't fit into that mould, didn't fit into another mould. And that then imprints on us. Don't step out of the mould because everyone's going to say that about you. What if we just concentrated on our own fun and peace and joy? What if we just looked at our own quality of life? What if we just looked at our own ladder and where we're putting our own ladder and not worrying so much about everybody else's ladder? How would that feel? How would that feel? Ask that for yourself. So 2026 is going to be interesting because there are many ways that people can react to the awakening of my ladder. Well, even the fact that you've got a ladder. Most people don't know they've got a ladder, right? They don't even know it's up against anything. They don't even know. So there will be people who will realise, oh my gosh, I've got a ladder. Bing! That will be mind-blowing. There will be people who will realise, oh, I have a ladder and it's up against a building. Bing! There will be people who realise, I've got a ladder, it's up against a building. Wait, is this the only building there is? Bing! There will be people who XYZ go through all the different scenarios of whatever it is. Again, the ladder is your life path, the path that you're going on. The buildings are the way that you're choosing to live life. The fallout from people realising their ladders are up against the wrong thing is going to lead to a lot of a shake-up for a lot of people. It's going to lead to a lot of relationships ending. It's going to lead to a lot of people leaving their jobs. It's going to lead to a lot of people crying in the corner in the fetal position because, oh my gosh, all of a sudden they're allowing themselves to feel some things that have been knocking on their door for 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Or as it was for me when I woke up at 47, 30 years, 35 years of stuff had been tapping at me and I'd just been ignoring the tap, right? Because I had people telling me what to do and where to go and what life was about, right? Oh, another drop of the crystal. You can't make this up. So I want to encourage you not to fall apart when you realise about your ladder and the realisations you have about your ladder, because at the end of the day, all knowledge is knowledge that you then get to choose what you do with that knowledge, right? I believe that we need to become, if we aren't already, lifelong learners and be open to the fact that we don't know everything about everything, and that our opinions and thoughts about things are not fixed, and that the further through life you live, the more information you get, you are going to be able to, you're going to have times where you're going to change your mind. You're going to have times where you don't even have an opinion anymore. Where that doesn't even, people will say, oh, what do you think about it? Oh, I don't think about it. You don't think about it? Don't you think you should know that? I don't need that energy in my life. It's not about me. That's not about me. I don't think about that. I don't think about them. I don't worry about, do you know what I mean? So this is where we start to get some autonomy over our lives, right? Where we start to realise, yes, I'm in the world. Yes, there are rules. Yes, there are laws. Yes, there are ways of being. Yes, there are this. Yes, there are that. Sit down now. What do I choose from now? Not what did I choose before that led up to this. We are all the sum total of what we've lived. But as I always say, choices as we expand into life and expand our capacity and get more knowledge and expand the known, that has to change some of the things that we think, doesn't it? Because if you were asked what your favourite colour is and there was blue, green and red to choose from, you're going to choose blue or green or red, right? Beautiful. You're going to live some life thinking that red's the best colour and I want red car and I want a red top and I want red crystals and red. Oh, I'm going to work at that place that's got a really good red uniform. Dirt. Suddenly, there's new colours that come on board. And there's purple, and there's orange, and there's pink, and there's this colour called black, and there's this colour called white. Oh, somebody comes along now and asks you what's your favourite colour. And I'm going to have to say red because, like, I've locked it in. I've got a red car. I've got all the red crystals. I work at that place because it's got a red uniform. My house is red. Oh, but I really love purple. I really want it to be purple. I didn't know about purple when I chose red, and red's been beautiful and I've loved it right up till now, but purple just sings to me. Are you going to continue along with the red life, or are you going to change your mind and expand into the purple? And are they either going to live some more life, and then all of a sudden you see brown and you see silver and you see gold and you see green, and are you then going to adapt into the new colour, right? How are you going to do your life when you get new information, expanded information? Are you going to stay in the red? Are you going to maybe crawl into the purple? Or are you going to allow yourself to love what you love in the moment and just do the guts out of that, and then when the next colour comes along, allow yourself the grace. The new knowledge comes along, allow yourself the grace to have a change of mind or to solidify what you already know is true for you. I love that I've got all that choice out there, but this purple for me right now is serving me so well. I'm going to stick with purple, but I'm so grateful to know that there are so many other colours out there. Does that make sense? We lock in, and we lock in hard. Many of us don't unlock that first lock-in for the whole of our lives, and ultimately get to near the end, or a near-death experience, or a catalyst moment where we realise, shit, I didn't have to do it like that. And then some people will still lock back in because I've spent 45 years of my life doing this and this, you know, what a waste it would be if I have to stay locked in. And then there'll be other people who will drop everything at a moment's notice because they know that doesn't suit me anymore. It suited me, it was the best thing ever for that time, but I'm outgrowing it now. A new season is coming in, and if I want to go into the new season and be able to grasp and enhance my life from the things of the new season, there are some things from the old season I'm going to have to let go of. And let go of them with love and thank them for all sorts of things, coping mechanisms, habits, ways of being, ways of thinking. It's an endless choice of things to let go of, and only you will know what that is, and only you will know at the time of what that is, right? I know a lot of people at this time in their lives will get divorced. Like I said, will leave jobs they've been at forever, 2 years short of getting a full pension and or whatever. They're like, I'm out of here. I can't do another day of this because it doesn't bring me joy. It hasn't brought me joy for the last 10 or 12 years. I didn't think about stepping into that thing over there that pays half the money but lights my soul up. Do you know what I mean? We have to work out what's right for us. We have to be able to use the expanded knowledge that we get when we live more life to be able to expand our thoughts, our opinions, our ways of being, our ways of thinking, our ways of living, our ways of how we want our life to be. But we also need to know that not to diss what we did before, because you were only living from the place, like I said. You were only loving red, loving the guts out of red because you thought you only had a choice of 3 colours and red was it. But now you're in your purple phase. I don't know. Hopefully this is making sense. There are so many things that come through with channels. There are so many different ways, and I like to unpack them on here because the more that you speak it out, the more that you see, the more that it makes sense, the more it grows on. And my thought with that is, if it helps one person to think differently, to unstick, to feel like it's okay to feel the way that they feel, for somebody to understand that, oh, it's not just me, I'm not doing it wrong. So many people think they're doing life wrong. You're not doing it wrong. We just haven't been living from our whole parts of ourselves. We've been pushing ourselves into boxes or circles or fields or ways of being that may have been okay in that moment, but they've given us all they can give us now, and we are busting out, ready to go into something else. That's all that it is. You're not doing life wrong. Nothing you've done is wrong. If you're living your life and your life is your life, but you do get to choose what you do next. And when you can realise that you can consciously make choices by stopping, saying I don't know, and opening yourself up to the field around you of what possibly could be, you'd be surprised what presents to you that you would never have even thought of before. You'll be surprised what synchronicities line up to guide you in a direction that in 2 years' time you're going to look back and think, oh my gosh, thank goodness I saw that. Thank goodness I stopped and said no to this and didn't just jump into the next thing everyone told me to, because that opened up the space for this, this and this to happen, and now I'm here and I love it. Or you might do 2 years at something and then that's just the best thing to light you up, and then you'll feel that that's coming to an end again because something new is coming, right? It's all a living experience. Don't die having not lived. Don't die having not lived. Okay, love you.